There's another one you don't want to hear. Frankly, if you want.
One, two, three, set, go.
Right now on the Power Chord Hour, we're talking to musician Bobby Vaughn, formerly the frontman of The Promise Hero and former guest here on this show. And Bobby just released his debut solo EP on TDR Records, and we're going to talk new music with him, going solo, and just, all about his really impressive career. We're going to get all into that right now. Bobby, man, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me back. And I know it's been a while, but it feels like it was just yesterday, the last time we were talking.
Yeah, I've been I've been looking forward to have you back on. I couldn't believe it. I think it's been like 4 years at this point. It was like 2000.
No.
Yeah, like 2017, like 4 years. Long ass time.
I always forget about the 1 year pandemic. I always forget to include that when I'm trying to remember how long something was ago.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, if we don't count that year, and I say we don't. I say that year doesn't count. I'd say 3 years then.
I honestly feel like when you stopped in Cleveland, I feel like that was right before the pandemic hit.
Oh my God.
That's
in between
how much
that,
I've been doing.
Oh, gee. And in between that, I lived in a whole different state and moved back. I moved away and moved back. And we had a pandemic. Yeah. And you went solo. And you went solo, too.
It honestly, I think I had so much fun when we were together that one night in Cleveland.
That was a good time.
That it honestly, it really feels like that was one of the last times I was at a bar. My brother was a bartender, so I felt like I owned the place. And I don't know if I ever went back there after that one night. And so it really feels like that was just yesterday.
Damn. And then I remember, I think the best part of all of that was, if I'm not mistaken, we went and stood on the stage at the Grog Shop, which was very nice. I'm sure you've done that. Actually, you have, because I've seen you on it. But I've never stood on said stage, and that was an honor. Even if I was just standing up there looking like an ass, it was still an honor to be on the stage.
Well, so when we were down at the B-side, we went back up, and I think it was the end of the night. So like, there's still people hanging out, drinking at the Grog's bar. But yeah, it's so much fun to just kind of hop up there and see the view and just feel that energy that other artists might have felt just by standing under those lights and, feeling the stage curtains, whatever it is.
I got that leftover. We got that like residual, like whatever they like left behind on there. whoever played, we got whatever they left upon that.
Whatever
that stage.
Smells. Yes.
I think it was the Melvins too. Actually, if I'm jogging my memory back to this night, yeah. I think it was the Melvins.
Probably hot, sweaty up there, and yeah, we probably just breathed all that in.
And that dude's really that crazy, his curly hair. I'm sure that like crazy, weird curly hair thing he has going on. But yeah, that was 4 years ago, 3 if we don't count that last year, whatever the hell that was. So like, I mean, to like kick this off, when we were talking, I mean, you were still doing stuff under the Promise Hero, but I mean, talking to you last time, it seemed very much like you were transitioning into kind of doing your own thing, doing more of like a solo kind of thing. So, I mean, like in between then and now, like when did you kind of finally go, all right, it's time to just kind of do that. You're going to do this under your own name. And I mean, basically kind of go solo from, what you were doing in the Promise Hero.
So I don't know how far to back up, but I guess after Wait for the Sun in 2008, when Dan Weiss and Frank Feeney, the drummer, kind of said, we're not going to do the band as much anymore. I thought to myself, what do I do? I had people telling me in 2000, I think it was right after that we toured a little bit. So it was like 2010. People started saying, just go by your own name. And since then, it's been building up courage to do it, because I feel like as soon as I release something under my name, I have to take all the responsibility, and there's nothing to hide under. There's no I could say, well, maybe it was who I was working with at the time, but no, as Bobby Vaughn, I am 100% responsible. I feel like you don't like anything about me, or if you love me, it's like, then good. I've been working hard, and I'm ready to take that responsibility.
Nice. Yeah. I guess there is, I could see where you're coming from there, where it's like, yeah, if it's under a name, it's like, I don't know, the other dude wrote it, or like whatever, like some guy, our old guitar player wrote that song or whatever. So I can see where there'd be some added pressure from there. So far,
but there's so much good as well. I don't want to not put any spotlight on that. There's so much good. It just gets scary. I guess it's almost like I was in a relationship and I got dumped by the two guys that left the band, and felt like, well, we were working so hard on this, and I don't know if whoever I find to join the band is going to have the same energy. It's like, there's so much good that comes out of having so many people too. It's just that I got scared when I lost the two, that I was like, I know I have to go solo, but I'm building up the courage.
How's it been so far? Has it been a pretty smooth transition then, going from Promise Hero to Bobby Vaughn?
If you think about 10 years of telling myself every day I could do this, it's the easiest transition if you give yourself 10 years.
It really did, because like I know when we were talking, I mean, I think even at that point you were like, I think maybe in the live setting you were still maybe doing both, if I'm like remembering correctly. Like you do stuff yourself, and then sometimes you have like someone else like up there with you. But
Absolutely.
Even back then, it seemed like you were basically, you were definitely like inching towards, all right, this is now my thing. It's not so much like a full band thing. It's like, all right, this is my baby or my project.
Absolutely. I honestly, I felt like I was standing at a swimming pool, dipping my toe in, like, come on, I could do this. I could jump in and just go by my name. But yeah, and all the times I had friends jump on to play shows or tours, they were always my good friends, and I could tell that there were people that I've played with that genuinely wanted to be part of it and co-write, and we just had so much fun. But I just thought, I don't want to keep adding to something that I feel like I've already kind of stepped away from mentally, in a way.
That makes sense. I mean, also kind of progressing from that, because like how many years did you go under, not just, I mean, you go under the Promise Hero, but like just that band, like how many years did that exist altogether then?
2006 to I never really said the Promise Hero is over.
Oh, okay.
but you're right. I never thought about it. I guess with Bobby Vaughn launching just now, yesterday, if I could see Promise Hero reunions happening where there's members in town or members that want to play shows together, I could absolutely be down to do that. But you're making me think about something I haven't thought about. That's awesome.
Damn, I hope I'm not saying like saying shit then, that like you don't mean. Yeah, I guess I was just assuming you were kind of done with that. So yeah, don't listen to me, because I'm
no. It's cool. Okay. Well, here's another thing to think about. Here's another someone that I was looking up to through this entire process. Is someone that I got to work for as a roadie, Andrew McMahon. There's someone that I'm looking up to as far as how they're going forward. He plays Jack's Mannequin, Something Corporate, and he mixes all those songs in every set list he does today still. So I always thought that after this transition, I will continue to play Promise Hero songs as long as people want to hear them. And I think Andrew McMahon still does Something Corporate reunions. I'm pretty sure he just did one. Or at least a Jack's Mannequin one. And I always thought whatever he does, I'm using him as my, someone I look up to as far as how to continue working on something like this.
He seems to be good at that. I feel like he's handled that well, because I always forget how many different things he's done, where at the end of the day, I mean, even though, it's him on all of those things, like, yeah, I totally forget. It's like Something Corporate, Jack's Mannequin, his solo, you know what I mean? Like, you start thinking of it all. It's like, oh, wow, like, yeah, it's kind of like your whole body of work. And same with you. That totally makes sense, because you were singing those songs and writing them. Like, why not continue to play them? I mean, that
right.
Makes sense. Plus, I feel like the EP too is kind of a continuation, also, like progression as well, but like a continuation of what you've been doing. So it doesn't, it's not very left field in a way where I don't think those songs would all fit together in a set. You could still play Promise Hero songs, and I feel like they'd fit good with what you're doing right now.
Thank you. Absolutely. again, looking at Andrew McMahon and just kind of modeling what I see him doing and feeling like that's exactly what I want to do. With that being said, there is a Promise Hero release that has one of the new songs on it. I don't know if you heard you probably heard Maybe I'm Just Crazy. I'm sure I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, I started demoing that song.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've played that on here before. I've definitely played it on the show.
That was a song that I did randomly at Will Pugh's studio when I just hit him up and asked if he would want to do a song together. And when I recorded that, I didn't know what to do with that song, because I was like, this is Bobby Vaughn. I want this to be on my first Bobby Vaughn album, but I still didn't know what my plans were. And that was 2000. I'm afraid to say, I think it was 2016. I started recording Maybe I'm Just Crazy.
So it's been a while in the, but you know what though? I get to why that song's hung around, because it's very catchy, and I see where you're going with it. It kind of goes with that progression again of like going from the Promise Hero to just Bobby Vaughn, because I feel like it's a little bit of both. It's the past. I mean, there's on obviously, because it was a Promise Hero song too, but it's like you have what you guys did in the past, but it still kind of was, I feel like, progressing more to the kind of like, I don't know if I want to say singer-songwriter towards what you're doing now. Like, I don't know what word I'd use, but like, you know, I think it goes to like, it works with what you're doing now, and it worked with what you were doing then.
I think saying not knowing what word is the biggest compliment ever, because that makes me feel like, oh, maybe I did something that, you know, I like the idea. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't put words to it.
The toughest thing for me is to hear my songs, these new ones, and close my eyes and imagine what the perfect concert looks like. Because it's like, what instrument would I play live? Do I see this more as a loud rock thing like the album? I think so, but then who's on stage? It's like there's so many questions still today that I'm wondering myself, you know.
I was wondering those as well.
With that being said, it is kind of just happening without putting, I guess, the thought process that I'm going to sit down and figure it out. But it's not. It's like the Grog Shop hit me up and said, there's a gig at someplace nearby. It's like a place where people shop. What's it called? A shopping center, something like that. But there's a stage, and they're looking for a band, and they asked if I would want us to do it. And I'm like, sure. And they're like, do you have a full band? I'm like, I could probably put one together. So just getting pulled into it is kind of helping me figure it out, you know, whether or not I have the time to figure it out. It's like, oh, I just got to do it. So yeah, I got friends that I want to call and ask. So that the closer the show date approaches, the more I'm gonna just, okay, let's do it.
It's a good thing if you have people in mind. I feel like that's a good thing, and I also get that. Like, I could see where that would be a good push right now. You know what I mean? Like it makes you go do those things. It's like you have to figure out what your live setting will be. You'll have to figure out if it's going to be you and a band, and you know what you want to do with all that. So that's probably not bad at all. Has that happened yet, or is this like a future show?
It's something I think in July. I know the day got moved once, and I don't think it's something that I'm going to announce to all the people following me around the whole country. It's just more of like a local thing. And I thought this would be amazing testing grounds for seeing what it could be like if I put a full band together for these new songs. Nice.
And I mean, it makes sense because you have the full band on those songs on the EP and stuff. So I mean, I feel like, plus they're versatile though, because you could also, I feel like the songs that even do have a full band, you could still get away with just you and a piano. I feel like you can go either way.
Yes, and with the pandemic, there are some interesting things that have happened. I'm sure that's the one thing I was thinking about before we got on the phone call, is like, there's so many things I could talk about myself, but it's like, it's so crazy to think about how all of us are, one whole year of just trial and error almost, for the people that couldn't go to work, the people that had to stay home. For me as a musician, that was just kind of home a lot. I was like, okay, let's see what happens if I put a microphone up to my cajon, sit on the cajon, use a looper pedal, plug that into a looper pedal, and build rhythms and drum beats. It's like, that's becoming something that I'm like, maybe that could be my show. I'm just jamming at home, and coming up with these ways to make a full sounding, as much as I could, full sounding performance. And so I'm thinking maybe this is something I could do on stage.
That's kind of neat. It's like you're making your own like backing band, kind of.
Right. And I can't say that I came up with this idea myself, because another artist I got to work for is the king at making his own beats. I was a roadie for Shaky Graves, who has his suitcase behind him, and that's his shtick. It's so awesome. If you've ever seen him live, he hits that suitcase kick drum pedal behind him like it's backwards, like it just looks cool. And when he hits it, the whole venue just shakes. It's just huge sounding.
That's cool. That I like that, because it's a neat like alternative, like basically to your problem. Like, all right, I need a band, but it's just me. What do I do? And I mean that's a really great way around it, where it's like that. It's, I don't know. It's really interesting. I'll have to look up a video of him doing that.
Yeah, when I started working for him, it was more of his tour manager that asked if I needed a job. And then when I got to see what all this excitement was about, big shows, I'm like, who is this guy that he needs to hire just a random guy to help? I was just inspired. I am a fan. And it's so cool that I get these opportunities to like work where it sounds like it's going to be kind of painful all day work, but I come out of it feeling so inspired to work on my own music.
Now, do you plan
Sorry.
like? Oh no, so you're fine, man. Like after the pandemic, like when shows come back, I mean, is that something you think you'll probably get back into doing? Kind of going back on the road with other bands?
It's such a fork in the road, the road. Excuse me, because there is so much that comes out of working for bands. One being paying the bills, two being in a field that I want to be in, and three getting to see how artists bigger than myself do their thing and how they do it, what looks so successful. And then of course the downside is I try to work my hardest, which means wake up and do whatever I can to make this artist have the best day ever, and then go to bed thinking about what I could do tomorrow to make their day even better. It's like, that's not working on myself at all.
Yeah, I could see where that could become an issue. I could
Absolutely.
I could definitely see that, because I mean, yeah, because if you're in the same field, and you're writing your own music as well, yeah, trying to like balance that like time with both of them. So I can see where the pros and cons of that.
And then, not to mention the relationships I've at home and with the guys that I'm on tour with the band. If I was ever to go out with Shaky Graves, if they ever asked me back, it's like, those are my friends. I love being with them, and it doesn't feel like work at all when you're working with people you want to hang out with. So
yeah, that has to be a fun time. I'm sure that has to be a like you were saying, that's a job that's like that's a lot more fun than the average job.
Maybe you might find it interesting. You might find it interesting to know what I've been up to try to help make ends meet at home. I've since the pandemic started, I got engaged.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you so much. And my fiance Toby is a teacher at a school, and they were like the perfect example of how to have in-class students and do it the right way. I guess everybody was applauding the school at how safe they were this whole pandemic. And next thing you know, I could use a few hours of work, and here I am substitute teaching at the school occasionally. And
nice.
There are so many things that I feel like are coming out of being in this role as a substitute teacher that I'm like, I can't wait to do this at a concert, like how to talk better on stage, or how to just talk to people in general. And there's so many things that I'm just grateful for about the substitute teacher position.
Flip side of that, do you feel like there was anything you brought from kind of doing the tour managing and like that kind of stuff, bringing that into like the classroom? Do you feel like you applied any of that stuff? That
was what made saying to my fiance, yes, I want to substitute teach, that being on the road, especially a merch guy for Shaky Graves, when he did, I don't know, 800 cap rooms sold out, and they're all around me at the merch table. It's like, that was my practice for talking to kids in a classroom. It's like, everybody shut up. I know you're drunk, and I'll get to you one at a time. Yeah, it worked perfectly. No, I didn't. I never talked like that in the classroom, but just that type of experience.
That's funny, but I could totally see where you could apply that there. It's cool too that you found a way to apply it during this, during a time where you can't get out there with shows. And like with the pandemic and everything, I wanted to ask too. Speaking of the goddamn pandemic, writing the songs for the EP. I mean, I know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Has been floating around there for a while. But were any of these written during the pandemic, or were these songs written pre-pandemic?
I think they were definitely written, but they were still in the oven, in the studio mixer. And I think the pandemic started, and I was just finishing getting back the final mixes.
Oh, okay. So that was like right as it was starting.
But I did start recording these songs. Like I said, I mentioned I started recording Maybe I'm Just Crazy in 2016 with Will Pugh. And the other songs were recorded between 2016 and I think I finished recording in 2019, maybe the very beginning of 2020. That's when everything finished recording, because I just took my time. I took my time because I didn't know what my plan was to release and who I was going to work with, even to record with, mix some of the songs. And TDR Records has been my friend forever. And he was kind of by my side the entire process, saying, if you want, we could do TDR Records to help push this together as a release, or I could, there's times where he mentioned maybe just release it yourself with his helping hand. And that was an option that, maybe I just don't have a label behind it. But I guess ultimately TDR and I want to do whatever I can to continue growing. And so I guess where we landed was having his label on it and working together. And it's awesome because it's bringing people to TDR, to the other bands on TDR that are, Promise Hero listeners. And it's kind of cross exchanging all of the promotion stuff. So it's really nice.
No, that's awesome. Mike is a great dude. TDR is a very rad label. What release number is this for you on there? I mean, I know like Promise Hero, you put all the stuff out there on TDR.
Mike has been so generous with helping release stuff that I think we have 2 releases on TDR Records that was influenced by Mike's ideas. I think there's that Promise Hero release called It's Been a Summer. And that was Mike coming to me saying, hey, we have all these demos. Can we just release this as a TDR release? And my jaw dropped because I'm just so lost. I'm so ADD. I'm so not sure what my first step should be in any direction, that when he came to me with something like that, it just feels like the biggest hug, comfy, loving hug in a moment that I needed it. So with that being said, I don't know how many releases. I think we have the first EP, self-titled Promise Hero EP, Wait for the Sun, Okay Cool was the 5-song EP, and then we did Deja Vu, full length. Then after that, I get a little foggy. We released It's Been a Summer, but I think either before that or right after that, we did another release of demos. There's nothing more like flattering, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but nothing makes my head bigger. How about that? Than Mike saying, all of your demos I want to release. And to me, all the demos that he has that he released, that was like my dirty Kleenexes and him saying like, that's how it feels.
I honestly though, like I see where he's coming from because the demos are cleaned up enough, which is also, I feel like, a compliment to you that your demos sound the way they do, that you can release them that way. Because there are a lot of bands who, I gotta say, you definitely don't want to release the demos to your albums. There are some bands out there where I don't think you're gonna sell any copies if you release what those songs sounded like before, like a producer got their hands on them, where they were cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe if that's true about my songs, it's probably because the guys that were in the Promise Hero in the beginning were so hardworking and so talented and so what was the word? They were just so passionate about making music their living, which it still is for Dan Weiss, the original guitarist. What I'm trying to say is they took it so seriously that they bought all of the nice equipment and they showed me how to record it. I never figured it out. I would have never figured it out by myself, but it's because I had so many talented people show me how to demo that maybe it's become kind of the bar keeps rising, I guess. Maybe I'm like, how can I make these demos sound what I hear in my head? I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why they might sound good.
I feel like that
if they do.
I like the other thing. Yeah, that kind of makes sense too, because I get the feeling that you're fairly good or you're getting better at like getting your ideas out of your head. Because that's the other thing with demos. I think sometimes they just leave a lot to be desired if it ends up being like just, like some rhythm tracks and some really basic shit. Like even those demos on there, some of those songs really do just feel like, I mean, just about as produced as any band you would find, like with a studio recording. So
awesome.
So yeah, that maybe, on your part, that's great, And
maybe it's because maybe I still am, but I was the biggest Blink-182 fan ever, and so of course the first thing I did when I discovered the internet was look up Blink-182 demos. Who else do I listen to and love that I listened to the demos, and I'm like, wow, their demos sound so close to the actual album. Of course, Blink-182's demos are always 100 BPM faster for some reason.
That's true.
But it still like sounds like the real band, the same band that you're listening to on the actual album. So maybe that's the bar was set high by all the bands I listen to, and I don't know. I'm doing whatever I can do, and also the more I'm with kids at school, the more I'm learning about my own self, and I'm learning that like people with ADD, like that I guess I think I must have a very mild case. I've seen many doctors and I'm still not really sure where I'm at, but I learned that people with ADD have this tendency to focus, like they can't focus very long. That's because that's what ADD is. You can't focus long, but when they do, it's like super focused. And also being engaged is showing me, my fiance will knock on the door like, what are you doing in there? I'm like, I'm adjusting the settings of my new electric drum set tones for each drum. It's like I noticed that I get very, very focused and I tweak things for a very long time.
That makes sense. The attention to detail, because those demos, again, they're like, a lot of them do. There's more, there's layers to it. You have different things going on. Just a lot more than just you like with a drum machine and like, throwing some power chords or something over it and like a melody you just kind of came up with. Like they seem more fully realized, But with the EP, I mean, a second ago, like you were talking about all the great people that you've like played with on the EP itself. Like, did you have other people playing? Did you play a bunch of instruments? Like, who else was playing on the EP with you?
It's so hard. I need to figure out an easy way to say it. Maybe I could say a lot of people played on these new songs. A lot of people played on it. And they were all, I think 3 of the songs, Maybe I'm Just Crazy, Tearing Me Up, and In the Middle. Those 3 were recorded originally in Nashville with Will Pugh, I'm sorry. And I'm Ready and Permanent Holiday were recorded originally in Cleveland with Dave Pytek. And those 2 songs in Cleveland were like acoustic recordings that I took to Nashville with me. And I said, can we add drums to these? And we did. And those are the songs that you hear on the EP. It's so crazy how many like things these songs went through. And they come out kind of all sounding sonically the same.
They actually really do. I really wouldn't have guessed that they were all like recorded basically different times to different people and stuff. I would not have guessed that. I feel like it all flows well sonically. Like you can't tell that. But
that was my first time ever trying anything like that, and I'm so happy with how it came out. At the same time, I was so scared to do that because I just feel like I never really hear artists doing that, and I think that actually does happen more than I think it does. But I just felt like, no, I want to always do one producer at one studio session at one, with one mixer, one masters. But I really wanted for my first release under my own name to just be kind of a collection of all my favorite sounds with all my favorite people helping me record it.
Nice. And I like it too, because as an EP, it is kind of, and if you're going to do it in a way, it's kind of an introduction to you. I mean, if you're coming in new, and I feel like it's a good 5-song sampler of a little bit of everything that you do. It's like, it's like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. It shows like, I feel like every side of like your songwriting. So it's probably like a good introduction in that sense.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That in the middle song where I'm playing piano, that's like, to me, that's, I think, my first time playing a real piano on a song. And it just, and another thing I started doing was less demoing. Holy crap. I used to demo the heck out of songs back in the Promise Hero days, 2008. There's like 6 or 7 demo versions of each song. And some of the songs we recorded demos with Chris from Saves the Day. We recorded with Steve from Punchline, maybe multiple times the songs. And for some reason, we just thought that they had to be demoed. I don't know why we thought that, but now I'm doing less attention to how I just want to do one demo as fast as I can and save all of that original feeling as much as I can from when I write the song.
I think
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like normally that's better for bands. I was talking to we had a local musician here, Joey Cobra, and he was basically saying the same thing, where it's like you can't overthink it, because when you do, you just get in your own head and you end up, you're throwing things in that don't need to be there. You're overthinking what needs to be there. Like normally the first 1 or 2 takes are like, normally that's where the best idea is, and it's still pure. It's the original
and fresh,
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And there's that thing also called demoitis that I heard about a few different times from a few different people, where you love your demo because you listen to it so many times, and then you record the actual in the expensive studio version, and there's just something about that raw demo that you just, and that's happened to me so many times that I'm another reason why I'm just like, if I demo it, I'm just gonna not put too much time into it.
I don't think that's bad, honestly. I feel like normally, actually, going back to Blink-182, I mean, they wrote Enema of the State in like 2 weeks. I don't think there was a whole lot of going back and like rewriting songs. I don't think a lot of that was happening. That
makes so much sense what you're saying, because it feels like they captured lightning in a bottle with even on the demos. You could feel that young energy.
Yeah, I think. I mean, maybe Enema wouldn't be as good if they spent like 6 months on it. You know what I mean? Maybe it would not have been the classic that we all know and love now.
So absolutely, and I'm hoping that these songs are the most I've ever gotten, the closest I could get to that. I know I said that I spent years on these songs, but the actual songwriting part to the studio was pretty fast, and I definitely tried to not touch the demos.
When you write, do you tend to start on piano or guitar?
So I've always picked up a guitar and easily just could figure out the chords that I'm hearing in my head but the piano, that becomes more of like a challenge that I want to figure out how to do. So when I walk into my music room and I look at the guitar and piano, I'm like, let's go to the piano first. And then I usually end up saying, okay, I'm done trying. I pick up the guitar. So just to maybe even record like a 5-second sound recording on my phone, I'll probably use the guitar more likely.
By the sounds of it, then, do you still consider yourself more of a guitarist than a pianist?
That's such a tough question.
I'm throwing those curveballs or whatever the hell I'm
guess
trying to say at you.
I feel like easier than figuring out which one I'm better at. I feel like to figure out which one I'm worse at might be easier. I feel like there's so much more on the guitar that I could learn, like as far as textures and bends and just doing more things that sound technical. But at the same time, my fiance and a lot of my friends say, dude, why don't you just play guitar? You're so much better at it. They tell me that, but I don't know. There's something about the piano that I just feel like I'm blowing my mind every time I sit down at it. Like, wow, I could do this a little bit better today. I see the how much the productivity. I see that on the piano a lot more than I feel that on the guitar.
Well, that makes sense too, because you've been playing guitar a lot longer than piano too, right?
Right, absolutely. That's my 7th grade. My brother got his first guitar for his bar mitzvah, so he was 13. That makes I was 9, and I picked up his guitar, and I haven't really let go of it. I have his guitar still at my house.
See, to me, that makes sense then, because I'm sure you had those feelings on guitar when you were like younger in the beginning. But I feel like you've played it so long now that it makes sense that later on you're like picking up something else and it feels fresh again. So I totally see where you're like, you know what I mean? Like you'd want to keep playing the piano for that. And more gratifying.
I'm going to get off the phone with you and I'm going to tell Toby that I feel like I just got off the phone with my therapist because you're helping me realize these things. And I guess you're making me realize that I don't talk to musicians as much as I would like to, and other people that just kind of think about music. And it's just nice to hear that and kind of hear back, oh yeah, maybe I am a better guitarist, because I like to say that I'm a good pianist just because I could play better today than I did yesterday. It's like, oh yeah, I'm amazing, but don't compare me to anyone else.
No, dude, I feel the same way. I played bass for years, and after a while, I always knew power chords, but like I started just learning chords and like very basic things on guitar. And even though I'm not, I wasn't good at it and I'm much better at bass, it's like, well, this is new though. This is fresh. Like, I don't give a shit about bass.
Right.
I've been taking lessons for 5 years or whatever. It's like, this isn't, I think after a while you don't feel that anymore. It's just the norm. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, the thing I've been playing for, like you said, since you were, a child, like I can totally see that. It's a new musical challenge in a way,
Yeah.
Any lessons or is it all like, have you just been going just like self-taught the whole time?
I would love to say that I'm self-taught, but I've watched so many videos on YouTube. I feel like it's not fair to say that I taught myself. There's a guy named Piano John. I think that's his YouTube handle. They're like 90s style looking home videos that he uploaded to YouTube. And he plays all of the Beatles song. That's where I learned Martha, My Dear, that I've been playing that song on the piano, and amazing people are like, whoa, the piano. I'm like, I just watched Piano John's video and I could hit pause, I could pause it and look at his fingers. And that's another thing the pandemic has allowed me to do is my fiance does circles around me on the piano with sight reading, like even if it's just a guitar piano book that has the chord names over the lyrics, like she does that and sings and reads the chords at the same time. I don't know how she does it, but I can only do one or the other, and I usually just get lost. So I've been doing a lot more to learn how to actually read music and just dipping my toe into reading notes on a note sheet or music sheet.
I think it'll pay off. I've let it go. In college I could sight read decently, but I know I started just sight reading the bass clef. But like when I started doing piano, I don't know how the hell people can read both of them at once. Start when it becomes chords too. Like I can read bass notes on there where I'm playing one note at a time. but
Mm-hmm.
I cannot put together a chord in that. Screw that. Screw
Yeah.
that.
And then there's people, if there's anybody listening to this right now that knows how to read chords and notes and sing at the same time, they're probably like, okay, these guys suck. We don't,
Oh,
like,
Oh,
because those people are out there.
100%.
Those people, so every time I'm,
100%. People are rolling their eyes at this right now. They're either don't know what the hell we're talking about, or they're rolling their eyes going, fucking newbies.
So I like talking about where I'm at because I feel very accomplished okay, here's one thing that I do feel. Because I get to go on tour with these bigger bands as a roadie, I get to go on stage, and if there's a little keyboard on stage, there's still sometimes, if it's a festival, there's 100 people just kind of sitting in front of a stage waiting for the band to go on. I've had so many moments on stages that I was probably not allowed to play the instrument because I'm not the artist, but I would be sound checking, and I'd do little doodles here and there. And I got to the point, I've been on stage so many times as a roadie doing these doodles that people are like, whoa, you're really good. And because there's so many people watching me, my confidence builds up. I just feel like I had this lucky opportunity to kind of like, know I'm not that good, but I know that I could play in a way that people think it sounds good. And I feel like I only had that opportunity because I work so hard as a roadie.
I will tell you, I mean, hearing your piano playing, you definitely, I mean, you're not bad, man. You can work your way around a piano. I mean, you can, even if you're faking it all, you do it quite well. So
Thank you.
That's impressive. That I guess maybe we talked about this last time. We probably did, and I didn't know you, or you said last time you were kind of more new to piano. But yeah, I mean, the fact that yeah, it's more of a quote unquote newer compared to how long you've been playing guitar. I think you've adapted over there pretty well. And you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but like during COVID, how's it been for your creativity songwriting wise? I mean, has it been, I ask people this and it's either really good or really bad. I get both answers. So I always got to ask.
I feel like my creativity has been pretty good for many years because I feel like I have systems that apply not just to writing songs, but my systems also apply to cleaning the house, and they also apply to like chores, anything that I have to do. It's just that when I get bored and I feel like I'm not doing good at something, my system is stop. And is there anything else I could do that's related to this? If not, then I tried. Move on to the next thing. And that's what I do with songwriting. I pick up the guitar and I'm like, I want to write a song today, or I just wrote a song yesterday. Let's work on it some more. If I get nothing out, I try not to get mad. I try to just either play a different song, or I bought an electric drum set. I got piano, I got guitar. So I feel like there's so many toys around me, and with a mixing board I just try to not give up and just kind of occupy myself with something else. With that being said, I've been writing kid songs.
Nice. I feel like you'd be good at that.
It has to do with being a substitute teacher, and then my fiance has the cutest niece and nephew that it's like I know what it's like to write rock songs and hear people sing them back to me, but it's like, what would it be like to have this cute little niece and nephew sing a song about washing their hands? Because that in that moment when they're over, it's like they're so adorable, but what would it be like to help educate them and rock out with them? So that kind of sparked my interest. I told Mike Hollins maybe I could write a kids EP or something, and I think he changed the subject pretty fast. But I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on that yet.
I think that's awesome, and also kind of going back to a second ago, where you're like talking about piano and it being, like those little feats that you get over, learning those little things, the gratification of it. I could see that like with the children's thing, because that's a challenge in itself for songwriting. Like I'm sure you haven't really written children's songs before. So this is like a whole new kind of like a section of your songwriting you've never explored. So I feel like this could be quite gratifying, just like
Absolutely.
Piano in that way.
There's so many times that people have told me Promise Hero sounds like a mix between the coolest rock band and the most dumb sounding children's band. I've gotten so many mixed things that I'm like, I could write a really cool kid song, just because I've had the back and forth that I'm not offended because I get so many good compliments about the being cool sometimes. Like, like this is a cool rock song, but sometimes I hear people say, you sound like Nickelodeon, that I'd like to take the best of both ideas and I just have fun with it.
Nothing wrong with that. I think that's awesome. I would be intrigued to hear these. I would love to hear what that sounds like. I think you do a really good job writing kids music.
Yeah, I've got a song about getting dressed for school. I've got a song about washing your hands. What else do I have? My niece, or my fiance's niece, we're gonna get married. She'll be my niece. She wants a song about fire drills and tooting, and tooting is her word for farting. If you don't know, it's new to my vocabulary. I like it. I like the word toot. I think I might stick with that the rest of my life.
It's a good word. It's a good word, and I like that you're getting requests too for topics. Like that.
That makes it a lot easier too. It's like I don't know if I could actually come up with anything on my own.
Also,
just because there's so many, I don't even know where to start.
Well, also, I feel like that's a good sign too, because kids, I feel like, would be harder to get their attention and interested. So if you have them requesting it, I feel like it's had to be somewhat successful, like what you've showed them already and stuff. Because it's like, I don't think it's super easy. And plus, I think kids are pretty candid. I feel like they let you know if something was bad. I don't feel like they have that filter to pretend to like something.
All of everything you're saying, that is absolutely part of why I'm even thinking about it. It's just too easy. It's just like right in front of me. They're available, so I love that idea.
That's cool. I'm excited to see where you go on that.
If Mike Hollins has anything to do with it, you might not see anything going on. We'll see.
We'll get the demos of it at least.
Maybe.
But on the new EP, I mean, what were some influences? Would you say? You throw a few artists who kind of influenced you on these songs. I know you've written them throughout different times, so it all may be different. But I mean, were there a few artists that maybe influenced some of these songs?
I want to say that I came up with all of these songs without thinking about any artist, but I can't. That's not true. I definitely was on the road to Shaky Graves so much around the time of writing these songs that there has to be there has to be a little bit of him in there somewhere. He has like a lot of like folky harmonies, and they're so beautiful. I think I might have tried to capture some of that in the middle with those harmonies, and just his band is very real. You don't hear any fake instruments on his. You might hear like some cool Beatles sounding synths and stuff like that on his last release, but that inspired me to really respect, but really want to also have real sounding instruments, just being around it and seeing talented musicians all day, every day. Of course, Andrew McMahon is a guy that I got to be a roadie for. And so piano has been up front for me now, just to see how much dynamic he uses on his songs, and wanting to be able to replicate that in my own way. So it's funny that like a lot of my influences come from the artists that I work with, but I just feel like I got to see them inside out, and I could really get to see where they're coming from. And I feel so inspired by every element of their career, from a lot of these people are just really good-hearted people that it makes sense why they're so successful. So even just their personality inspires me to want to try to be nice, just, help each other, and just be a nice guy when someone's being nice to me first, be nice back.
No, that's totally smart.
Absolutely. And then that just kind of leaves a lasting impression when I pick up my instruments. I'm thinking about the bands that I like listening to, but I'm really thinking about who I was hanging out with the month before when I was working for them. Like, oh yeah, they were playing that chord. How did that chord go? So a little bit of everything.
I think it's smart on your part to do that and take advantage of that when you're working on that side, because you're getting something out of it. Like you were talking earlier, the balance of, kind of catering to them and what you need to do there versus, your own music and what you're doing. but that does sound like you're getting something out of it. And it makes sense too. Cause I mean, you've worked with all those guys. I mean, have done pretty damn well for themselves. So, I mean, I think if you're going to like model yourself after someone or kind of look at what they're doing, I mean, I think guys like that would be the ones to look at, I mean, their careers are doing well. Like, it's kind of like, don't take advice. Like, I'm not taking marriage advice from someone who's been divorced 7 times, but I would probably take music, like I'd take career advice from the guy who's, playing arenas or has been in, like 3 successful bands, I mean, Andrew McMahon's been like everything he's ever done has, I think, gotten some mainstream success and, has done quite well. So yeah, not bad guys to model after.
Especially starting from the bottom, all of these guys. Shaky Graves was in his own little van touring by himself, just playing coffee shops. He actually played in Cleveland at Mahal's. Not even that much. Yeah, he played there, and then I think he started blowing up immediately after his Mahal's gig, and that's when I got invited to tour with him. So it happened so fast for him, and I know Andrew McMahon started as a small band too. So it just feels real. It feels so real, and it makes me feel like, well, if they're real and they go through real life things, then maybe I have a chance too. If I look up to what they've done and how they handle things.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. And you're, bringing up Mahal's and Grog Shop earlier and everything. I miss shows in Cleveland, I think, more than anywhere else. Some of the best venues, and it's a great excuse to get Waffle House on the way home. It's always a fun trip through Ohio and Pennsylvania on the way home. You guys have some of the best venues. So, I'm missing the hell out of that. When things come back, I mean, is that the plan? Do some, play out, do live shows and stuff when that can happen?
Absolutely. I've worked with a booking agent, and I've been messaging him, kind of knocking on the door saying, "Hi, can I go on tour? Can you help me? Do you know anybody?" And he's in a band too. And so like, I'm asking, can I, do you have any shows coming up? I'm like asking him anything that could, just help me figure out my situation, just because if I was to book anything on my own, I don't even know where to start. I'd probably ask you, what's the name of that venue in Erie again? Maybe I'll start
Basement Transmissions. Shout out.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's definitely on my list if I had a chance to pick out a place right now to look into. But so I'm starting with the Grog Shop hitting me up about a couple small gigs in Cleveland.
Nice.
Actually, there's one next week. It's May 20. Is it next week? I'm so bad at this. Why am I should have written it down. I think it's May 27th. It's a Thursday at the Grog Shop. I'm planning right now. I told you about how I've been experimenting during the pandemic with a looper pedal mic'd into a cajon and playing the piano and guitar while I set these beats up. That right now, that's my plan. And that's for a show next week. I think it's next week. I should look at a calendar.
I'm looking at one on here. If it's the 27th and that is a Thursday, it's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. Yes. Good. I could use a little more time.
And now are tickets still like available? Cause this will come out Monday. So, I mean, we can like plug this if there's like tickets and stuff still available.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tickets are still available. I know it's limited. So if anyone's thinking about it, they should check out the website and pick up I think it's in tables. You buy a ticket and it gets you a whole little table. And the food there's going to be food provided. It's like a series they're doing once a week, every Thursday, from a local restaurant. That night we have Gigi's on Fairmont, which is my next door neighbor in Cleveland Heights. And their food is insane. So I'm honored and I'm excited that I get to be part of this Grog Shop one-time evening.
That's going to be fun. I mean, that is another one we're talking. I mean, they have amazing venues up there, and Grog Shop has to be, if it's not the best one, it's one of the best ones. So, I mean, that's great. And it's great that they could stay open too. That's the other thing that really sucks at the end of this is not only finding venues to play, but like what ones, end up still being open when everything's over, very, very shitty part of it all. So it's good to see that the Grog's still like going strong and doing things and stuff. And, I mean, a great place to play too. That's rad on, your part. There's good. You're in a good area for venues, is what I'm saying. You have very good venues.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so honored, and I'm honored that they asked me. I'm so grateful that I have all these venues. Mahal's, Grog Shop, Beachland Ballroom. Crap, I'm forgetting some of them, but they all kind of band together to support each other, and they were all promoting events where you could go to their venue and buy merchandise of theirs, or just even local other merchandise. They were on it for the whole pandemic, sticking together, and it was inspiring seeing that and thinking like, well, what can I do to help my fellow musicians or even the venue? So it was really cool to watch, and it's very sad to see other venues around the country close. And yeah, it's a weird thing.
It will. I mean, it really will. That'll be one of those things where, yeah, like when shows are back and stuff, including for like you, who, I mean, you've played around and venues around the country, and to be like, oh, is that one still open? It's kind of like, it sucks, but it's like, guess you find out,
Yeah,
you just
absolutely.
don't know. But, what have you been listening to lately? Get into that for a second.
Toby is kind of inspiring me lately with the music that she's listening to, just because I've been kind of
sea shanties.
Sea shanties.
Sea shanties.
Do you hang there?
Yeah. A lot. She's right though.
Do you feel like those will bleed into the influence of the next Bobby Vaughn release, the sea shanties?
I think I actually even had a couple songs, maybe on the Promise Hero Deja Vu, that felt a little piratey. Even the song itself, Deja Vu, is a little. People kind of hold a glass and show me that it makes them want to kind of do one of those swinging pirate dances.
There is a swing to that, actually. That guitar in the beginning, there's kind of like that little swing, whatever you're doing on there.
So I do feel drawn to that style of sea shanty. I knew there was something there that was like making me happy. But there is something about that. Maybe there's a correlation with sea shanty and like Hebrew music, like growing up in temples and my bar mitzvah and going to Sunday school and Friday night services. I always had so much fun listening to the Hebrew songs, which also have like a swing and like a minor key and something about that. So it's funny that we're just joking about sea shanties, but I actually do find it nice music to kind of get inspired by sometimes.
Damn, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's different. You know what I mean? It's different. Like, that's kind of cool. You like derive, like things from different, music you may not expect, like different genres and stuff. That I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Musicals. I love musicals too. If my brother was listening to this, which I think he might be, Justin might be rolling his eyes right now, because you ask him about music, he'll probably list off every cool artist that's out today and his opinion and what he's been listening to his whole life. And it's just, for me, it's like, I like the Newsies musical. Like, I like a lot of Disney stuff, but just band wise, there's just not there's just so many bands people that I know that releases music that I'm inspired by all the time. I'm just trying to think of one that maybe put something out recently. I don't know. Nope, can't do it.
It's all, hey, that's a fair answer. I asked you what you're listening to. That's what you're listening to.
Like if I put on your playlist, I will sit there and enjoy it and maybe even pick up my guitar and be like, yes, all of these songs are something that I could find myself hearing a tune in any song and just like enjoying it. And I think maybe being engaged is something that has allowed me to really not take a back seat, but like just kind of listen, be a better listener as far as hearing any song come up on a playlist and wanting to explore it for what I might find enjoyable.
No, that's cool. And I think also, I mean, as a musician, you can start picking things out. You start listening, and like you were talking about, like these influences coming from places you may not expect. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all music. So I mean, you kind of start picking different things out that can apply to your own music, maybe things you never think of. So I think it's better to be that way than just like, I like this one thing and this one thing only.
It's probably the worst answer you ever have gotten. I'm sure every other person you've ever talked to has.
No, like, no one has ever. No, you know what I've learned about that question? I always think someone's about to just spout off like 5 bands. No one ever can.
Okay,
So
good.
no,
I feel better now.
I honestly always thought that would be a question where it's just like a gimme, like it's just something you ask at the end because it's like, yeah, like this, and this. No one can think of it. But you know what though? I don't know if I could. If you asked me the same question, I'd probably end up doing the same thing. I'd be like, oh, I got to think. So
Well, maybe also I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't do enough talking to people. Again, remember how I mentioned, like, I wish I had more people to just kind of ask what they're playing on their, sound system, or what guitar are they even touching or thinking about purchasing, chords and just piano. So it's like, I should do more of that. And you're making me realize that right now.
this whole episode is a revelation of sorts.
Absolutely.
But so I mean, live music coming back. We talked about that. I mean, anything else? Like, what's next for you? Like, what would you like to kind of do with the music? I guess as you go on from here. I mean, again, too. I didn't say it earlier, but I mean, happy release day yesterday.
Thank you.
You put out the new EP and everything. So I mean, where do you go from here? Where would you like to go next?
Well, I think we're gonna Mike Hollins at TDR Records is gonna continue working together to push each song individually, music videos, probably hoping for each song, and then touring, hopefully tour dates as soon as that starts becoming more of a normal thing. Definitely Cleveland shows. And in the back of my head, I'm planning out the next release. I'm hoping it would be an album, but if nothing else, then some singles along the way. Nice.
And, where can people find you? Where can they go check out the music, all that good stuff?
Just search my name, Bobby Vaughn, on Spotify or anywhere you listen to music. But if you're thinking about buying the vinyl of my new EP, you could get that at tdrrecords.com.
Nice. Yeah, go get the record. Go support Bobby. Go support Mike Hollins and TDR. I mean, everyone within this operation are all very good people and putting out good stuff. So we're gonna play one. We will kick it off with Maybe I'm Just Crazy. I feel like it's a good opener, and then we'll play like a bunch of other songs off the EP. Basically half the EP we will play. But
awesome.
we'll kick it off right now with Maybe I'm Just Crazy right here on the Power Chord Hour.
It feels like things are always falling apart, like a sandcastle in water. And as the ocean keeps retreating from shore, I get sucked under the current. I want to satisfy you, I can't do what you won't tell me to. And if you doubt that I stick through, well, I will until you tell me to. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I think you hate me. All I know is lately feels like time is wasted. Maybe I'm just crazy. to hit the road. I'm ready to go where it goes, not stopping till I hit the West Coast. There's something there that feels like home. Nothing you can say will make me wanna stay. I've been there and seen it, the warm air, I need it. If I could just leave today. I'm ready to hit the road. I'm ready to go where it goes, not stopping till I hit the West Coast. There's something there that feels like home. Don't say to me, there's everything here that I need. There's something there, the energy is flourishing. I've been there and seen it, the warm air, I need it. If I can just leave today. I'm ready to hit the road. I'm ready to go where it goes, not stopping till I hit the West Coast. There's something there that feels like home, and I'm ready to call it my own. Nothing you can say will make me wanna stay. I'm ready to hit the road. I'm ready to go where it goes, not stopping till I hit the West Coast. There's something there that feels like home. I'm ready to hit the road. I'm ready to go where it goes, not stopping till I hit the West Coast. There's something there that feels like home, and I'm ready to call it my own. I'm ready. I'm ready. It's tearing me up that you keep letting me down. Wonder if my heart could take much more, or if I should get out. Enough is enough. Don't know why I'm still around, but you keep on dragging me back in with wanting things to work out.
right here on the Power Chord Hour podcast. That was Bobby Vaughn with Tearing Me Up. Before that was I'm Ready, and opening up that block of music was Maybe I'm Just Crazy. You can find all three of those on Bobby Vaughn's new self-titled debut EP. It is out now on TDR Records. Like he said, you can go find it at Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your digital music. And if you want to go grab that on vinyl, you can from TDR Records. Just go to tdrrecords.com. And, Mike Holland's a great dude who runs TDR, and Bobby as well. Bobby is also a great dude. And, like we talked about in the beginning, we had him on back in 2017. Crazy to think that was, I think we're almost hitting 4 years. He came on in like the summer. I know it is kind of the summer, but it's like the beginning of summer now. I think he was on in like July of 2017, and just had a really, really fun time. That was a great night, too, what he was talking about there when we were hanging out at B-Side and up at the grog shop. I remember I went up there as well to go see Tommy Stinson play that night. So it was really fun. Go see Tommy Stinson, then go hang out with Bobby over there. And I talk about all the time how much I love the grog shop on here. So getting to screw around and hang out and everything was a great time. And Bobby's a great dude. And way back, I mean, if you haven't ever checked out The Promise Hero, definitely go check it out. If you like what he's doing now, I think you'll be a fan of what he did with The Promise Hero. But there's tons of it. There's a huge back catalog there to go check out, again, through TDR Records. So, go get Bobby Vaughn's new EP, start there. And if you like what you hear, don't worry. You have, The Promise Hero, couple EPs, couple full lengths, like we were talking about, a bunch of demos out there. And I also believe some singles. I think he has a holiday song, if I'm remembering that correctly. But a bunch of stuff to go check out. So very cool. And I always like that. I mean, if you're a fan of a artist or a band and you never heard them before, it's always rad when there's a bunch of cool stuff to go back and check out. And that is definitely the case with Bobby. So go support him. Go support TDR Records. And thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Power Chord Hour podcast. My apologies for the 2-week break. That was never my plan. The first week, I had a guest cancel, and I was kind of like, okay, well, we'll get back to it next week. And then I had some family stuff come up, and it just made it hard to, get around to doing the guest or anything. We did the radio show. We didn't take a break, but I definitely did not mean to take the 2-week break that we did from the podcast. But I am back. Thank you for holding on for those 2 weeks. And we're back now, and new ones every week. I got next week. I know I always hate saying this. I'm always like, don't jinx yourself. Don't announce something too early. But I do believe next week will be our top 5 Alkaline Trio songs. I just text as I'm recording this just before getting on the phone with Bobby. I was texting Kyle and Zach and seeing if next week would be good to do the Alkaline Trio episode. And I'm pretty sure everyone said yes. So more than likely next week's episode will be top 5 Alkaline Trio songs. But either way, we'll have a new one for you next week. And I'm very excited for that. So again, sorry for the little break, but we're back. Thank you so much for checking out episode. This is 62 of the Power Chord Hour podcast. And if you want to stay connected with the show, we're all over online at Power Chord Hour on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. We're on Spotify. Not only is the podcast there, but we also put up playlists from the radio show every week. And that is just search Power Chord Hour. I think it's 2 separate things. I mean, if you look on there, you'll find the podcast. We have like our own account that I put the playlists up every week. There's one from this week that I did, or really technically if you're listening to this Monday, from last Friday night. But I put those up. You can check out all the music that I play on the radio show. And there's a lot of it. That's a 2-hour radio show, so I can fit a lot of nice, fast stuff in there. That's on Spotify. Follow us if you would on Spotify. I know you can follow our account and go check out hundreds of playlists. Podcast everywhere you get your podcasts, wherever you're listening to this. I assume you found the podcast if you're listening to the podcast right now. But so that may not be an issue, but you can find that anywhere you get your pods. And hit me up, powerchordhour@gmail.com. I got free Power Chord Hour stickers I would love to send out to you. And just hit me up and subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever the hell you can rate and review the podcast. I would appreciate that, and it is a huge help to the show. And that's why I always ask of it. Sometimes I feel like it's just annoying. Like, I know I always like rate and review, but I hate to say it. I know everyone says that, every host of a podcast says it. Yes, it gets fucking annoying, but what I have learned is it does actually help. So I'm going to be fucking annoying and ask you all. I'm going to pander here and beg and plead. Go. I won't go that far. I'm not getting on my knees for you. I'm sitting here as I'm begging and pleading. But yeah, go rate and review the show. It would help, and I would appreciate it. But tune back in next week and check out the radio show. We have so much stuff to plug. And the radio show every Friday night on 107.9 WRFA in good old Jamestown, New York. And if you are not here in the Jamestown listening area, you can check it out on the website, WRFALP.com. You can stream the radio station there, so you can check us out every Friday night. And I really do appreciate it. So until next week for the Power Chord Hour, I'm Anthony Merchant. Thanks for listening.